Good morning, everyone. Looking good today. Psalm 23 is where we're going to be. Psalm 23 is where we're going to be. It's where we've been. Thank you, Desmond. All right. Hopefully that thing doesn't kill me. All right. Psalm 23 is where we've been. We're in the ending a series we've been calling Refresh. And that is why we have refreshments. Just kidding. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then we'll have snacks after church today. We're going to be in Psalm 23. I run. I always hesitate to call myself a runner because I don't enjoy it. But I run, and I run in the summer, which means I'm a glutton for punishment. And as I run the summer, a glutton for punishments, I can't get out early because my kids wake up super stinking early, so I run a little later in the day, around 10 or 11, lunchtime-ish. And so at that point in the day in Houston in August, it's like, essentially the surface of the sun. And you're running, so the first tenth of a mile, you are drenched. But normally, like when you get together with other runners, you talk about when you're running, how you're running, the kind of clothes you're wearing, the shoes you're wearing, your PRs, which personal record, or PBs, your personal best, and not peanut butter. And then you start to talk about like what you listen to. And what I listen to, this is terrible, and you guys are going to think I'm crazy because almost everybody else does, is I listen to audiobooks. Because here's what happens. You're in the middle of this terrible thing where you're running long distances on the surface of the sun. And when you're doing that, I need my brain off of it. Like I need to not think about what I'm doing. So I listen to a sermon or a podcast or an audiobook, and I do a little faster. So we're like 1.25 speed, and I do that. But if I'm going to do a race, if I'm going to go 5K, 10K, half marathon, we did a marathon in January. If I do that, then I'm going to have a playlist. And what I'm going to do, like, it's not going to be an audiobook, it's not going to be a sermon, it's going to be a playlist that's specifically designed to, like, get my heart rate up and to get me motivated. You know what I mean? Like, so where you're running hard and you're not, like, you're tuning out the other stuff. Because in moments like that, what you need to do is you need to focus. And so I spend time, and I'm going to spend my time focusing on this run that's right in front of me. I'm gonna take that time and take those seconds, and I'm gonna put my earbuds in, and I'm going to turn up the volume real loud, and I'm gonna listen to my 30-minute playlist or my 26-minute playlist, whatever time I'm aiming for, and it's filled with like power ballads, and rap. And I'm not normally a rap, but like it goes fast, so it gets me going. Nothing explicit, don't worry. It's very G-rated. And then I get to and then I get towards the end, and it's like we sing a song here called Defender, like that's on there. I love the song Defender. And then there's some Fall Out Boy on there, the Phoenix, and then Centuries. Like those get me really jacked up. But then there's always like, well, we have it for you. It's this song right here. Like at the end. Feel it? Do you feel it? You know it. Here it is. Ready? And this is like the last 2 minutes. Come on. Time to run. It's almost over. You sweat through all your clothes, but now it's time to go just a little bit harder. There it is. And I feel like Rocky, right? You ready? You're going to go fight Apollo Creed right now? As you run, like you finish the run, and there's the power of it. It's right there. We are going after it. We're tuning everything else out. I don't care if there's cars or trucks or other things that are coming at me. I put my earbuds in and I'm focused at the end. We're going all out, all for it until this race is done. There's something really powerful about tuning everything else out. There's something really powerful about getting that focus in your ears and in your mind, in your mind's eye, as to this is what it's going to be like to cross that finish line. There's something really, really powerful about a playlist that's going to focus you in on what the Lord has for you. And I think that's what Psalm 23 is. That Psalm 23 is really a playlist. It's a playlist for us to remember some things. It's a playlist for us to remember some things about the Lord. If you have your Bibles, we're going to go to Psalm 23. We're going to read it. It's going to be on the screen. I know you're like, when are we going to eat the food? Not right now. Get over it. Here we go. Psalm 23, verse 1. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear, say that with me, no evil. Better, you got to do better than that. I will fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Just like any runner who tunes everything else to get ready and go run their personal best. Just like that focus is necessary. That focus is important. And believer in Jesus today, we got to have that same focus as we're running this life. As we're running this race we call life, as we're going through this world, we got to get that same focus. We got to get that same intensity. We got to get that same drive as we push forward. And the key to tuning it all out, the key to being able to focus on what's in front of you, to get moving in that direction, is a little phrase we did our first part of this series 2 weeks ago, and it's this. Put the key up there. Here it is. The key is that what you have to do is you have to recognize that you are a sheep, and He is the shepherd. That I am a sheep, and that He is the shepherd. You've got to recognize something, that you and the Lord are totally different. All right? Hopefully that's clear. That you and the Lord are different entities, different beings. That you are a sheep. And we talked about what sheep are. Sheep can't see very far. Kind of weak-eyed. You know what? They've also been known to fall underneath the weight of their own legs when they've gotten too much water on them. They just can't deal because they're not very strong. They don't have sharp teeth. They have no talons. They have no claws. I just like the word talons. And they're dumb. Oh, sheep are so dumb. They die 24 inches from water because they can't find it. They have a bug on their face that they can't get rid of, and so they bang their head against a tree until they're dead. We are sheep, but He's a mighty shepherd. And if we can confess this thing together, if we confess this thing for ourselves and understand, I am a sheep, He is a shepherd, and we get over our tendencies to try to be the shepherd and just be the sheep, then it activates some stuff for us. It activates some promises here in Psalm 23 that are present. It activates 7 is what I have laid out there. There's probably more, but these are the ones that we have there, and we're going to hit them real fast. It activates this one where He's going to make you. He's going to make you lie down in green pastures. So there's going to be some times where you want to do something else, but He's going to make you. So number one, if you're going to take notes, is He makes you. He's going to make you do some things because He's the shepherd. You're a sheep. So sometimes sheep want to run away, but here's the thing. If sheep run away, then they're probably going to die because wolves eat sheep really quick. They have no talons, they have no teeth, and they are not very smart. He's going to make you. He's also going to lead you. He's going to lead you. He's going to lead you into green pasture. He's going to lead you beside still waters. He's going to lead you. If you recognize you're a sheep and He's the shepherd, He's going to restore you. I was talking to someone this morning, and just sharing some of the turmoil that they've gone over the last couple weeks, and the feeling of this restoration that they've received from just thinking through Psalm 23, that He restores, that the Good Shepherd restores your soul, that when you feel drained and overwhelmed and overcome, that He restores those things that are weak in you. He comforts you. I love that song. I'm so glad we found this Psalm 23 song that we've sung the last couple weeks. I love it. Your shepherd's staff, it comforts me. It makes me know that while I'm a sheep, I can't defend myself, but that shepherd over there, he does. He's got a staff that takes care of me. He comforts me. He's going to make sure that the things that are going on with me are going to be okay with me. He protects me. He protects you. He provides for you. Those things you think you can't handle, He provides. That drain on, last year, this time, Allie and I had a refrigerator go out, our AC go out, like the big AC unit at the house goes out, and a major car repair, same month. Whoa! That was a lot of money out the window. But He provides. He provides for us in the middle of that. He provides for you through that. And not just financial stuff, but He provides everything. Like, we don't frequently think about the little stuff that we get that He provides for us, like the breath that you have, the air that actually is in your lungs, the way He set up this system with a sun that, by the way, don't look at tomorrow. If you're going to get the right glasses, and then there's there's an eclipse tomorrow. Are you familiar with this thing? Just be careful. I don't want a bunch of blind people in our church. I mean, that'd be interesting, but probably problematic. It would not go well for setup. And we need some truck drivers, and you would not be able to be a truck driver if you did that. So don't do that. But he makes that sun and that moon. He makes this earth. He creates this whole thing. He provides. He provides in the big ways and the small ways. He takes care of His sheep, and then He empowers you. He empowers you to live this life. He doesn't push you out and say, go on. It says He anoints your head with oil. Your cup overflows. He empowers you. And I want to look back at a verse on here. Verse 5, it says this. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. And so we prepared a table. Somebody asked, is this how you do the Lord's Supper at this church? I was like, yes, because we're awesome. Donuts instead of the stale bread. And, this is awesome, right? It looks fantastic, except for this eggplant. I'm not an eggplant person, but maybe if you are, then you could have this afterward. Like, it definitely adds to the table's look. By the way, Amy LaMotta did this. Thank you, Amy, for putting this together. It looks great. See, the thing is, he prepares this table before us, right? He prepares a table. And the way this is set up is that this is set up as a feasting table. Like that this is a big party that the Lord is inviting us to. He prepares a table, and it's meant to be this person of high regard, of high renown, someone who is known well, who is of great power, significance, and authority. That this person has invited you over to the house and has created this gigantic, delicious feast in front of you. And says, He prepares a table before you. Like, so that when you come over, it's all taken care of. He prepares a table before you. And it does it in front of some people. In the presence of your enemies. So you aren't my enemies today. But for the sake of illustration, you're my enemies today. He prepares this table in front of enemies who are watching. And He says, sit down. He says, sit down and talk with me. Sit down and understand the power of what this is. Understand that He's at one end and I'm at this end, and that this table is for us. That while we are sheep, and he's a shepherd, he invites you to sit at a table in front of enemies. We all have enemies, right? The IRS, maybe. Not right now, it's August. Nobody's thinking tax season, but I don't know. Maybe you filed an extension, now you're having to get all this stuff together, and you're like, how's this going to work? Or maybe we have all our teachers getting ready to go back to school, and some people are excited about that. All the parents said, yes, I cannot wait. Allie and I feel like this, like the day school starts is like Christmas for us. That's the only comparable feeling. Like, okay, they're gone. Breathing again. And I feel like there's some parents out there who agree with me on this one. They're like, please just take these children from me. But maybe school isn't a thing that you're excited about as a teacher. Maybe you're thinking, that principal, that boss, I don't want to deal with him again. That team teacher, last year was so hard. I don't know if I can do it again. Maybe it's your spouse. Do you just feel like we are just at odds and we are at war with each other? Your girlfriend, your boyfriend, business partner. I was talking to somebody who's in California, and he was sharing with me some issues with he and his business partner, and he's at the end of his rope, doesn't know what to do, wants to dissolve the partnership, but if he does, then that means thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars goes away from him, and he doesn't know what to do with that. You know, it's also caused some relational strife for he and his wife, and so he's just feeling like this constant tension of these enemies that are outside. But then there's also like enemies that are inside, right? Sometimes there's just this stuff on the inside of us that's saying, you're not good enough. You can't. No, you're about to get destroyed. And this anxiety bubbles up into worry, and that turns into fear, and it becomes a paralysis of I can't. I don't even know what to do. I don't know how. And there's enemies that are outside of us, and there are enemies that are inside of us, and we're all struggling with that stuff. We've got things on the inside and things on the outside, and things that are pushing in on us and things that are kind of pushing out on us, and it hurts, and there's pain, and like, what do I do? School's starting. I don't know what to do with school. I don't have a job. I need a job. I don't know how to do the stuff I've got to do. I don't have the money I need. I'm sick. I've got this thing going on. All of this junk that surrounds you. And there's a thing we need to understand. Like at the base level of this is that the enemy isn't a person outside of you. And it's not a thing on the inside of you. I mean, the Lord makes pretty clear that the enemies that we're fighting against, like we aren't really fighting against flesh and blood. I'm not fighting against the IRS guy. I'm not fighting against my spouse. I'm not fighting against my mom and dad. I'm not fighting against my brother. I'm not fighting against any of those people. I'm not fighting against leaders or non-leaders. I'm fighting against principalities. I'm fighting against rulers. I'm fighting against these powers in places that are invisible. That we're talking like we fight against a spiritual realm that's different. We are fighting against something that isn't necessarily a face that's in front of you. When I say enemy, something comes to mind. It's not that. It's not that person. It's something else. It's something deeper. It's something that, well, I mean, the Bible calls in 1 Peter 5, he calls Satan a lion. A lion who's creeping around, seeking whom he can devour. He's he calls this entity, this enemy, a predatory, a type A predator who's coming after us. And remember, we're sheep, right? You're a sheep, and there's a class 1, class A predator coming after the sheep. Guess what? That's dangerous. This enemy, he comes around you. He's trying to devour you. He doesn't want good things for you. He doesn't want good things for you. He wants pain for you. He wants you to have relational strife. I mean, the enemy's going to pull up next to you and be like, if you don't get him, then he's going to take you down. So you better get him first. Oh, that other teacher, you better keep record of what she does to you this year, so you can get her out next year. You better keep track. You better take them before they take you. I mean, Jesus in John 10, in fact, we'll put it on the screen here. John 10:10. He says it like this, that this thief, he comes only to steal and kill and destroy. That he came to steal, to kill, and to destroy. That this enemy who prowls around like a lion seeking whom he can devour, he wants to steal your joy. He wants to take every bit of that joy, and he wants to destroy you in it. He wants to kill your confidence. The power that you think you have, the abilities you think you have, this enemy wants to destroy that. He wants to take you down a notch or 2 or 10 or 20. Not in your own personal confidence as like you're the one who has the power to actually do it, but like your confidence that the Lord is inviting you to the table. Like your confidence that he's even there. I mean, like what the enemy essentially tries to do is he tries to pull up a seat at the table. He tries to take this deal and you sit down and there he is too. And he just starts leaning over to you. You're never going to make it, Jason. You don't have the money to do it. You're going to get destroyed. You're not going to be able to handle this. And he wants to pull up a seat to the table to kill your confidence in your God. He wants to pull up this chair and say, hey, you want some watermelon? That guy down there, he does not care about you. Listen to me. He wants to steal your joy. He wants to kill your confidence. And third on there, he wants to destroy your hope. He wants to take your hope from you. He wants to say that there isn't possibility out there. Like, the way it is the way it's going to be. You might as well just get depressed, get discouraged. Do you know what the enemy wants so badly? He wants to disable God's people. You know what the enemy wants? He wants you and me bickering with each other, forgetting the goodness of this shepherd. He wants us off track in any way he can get us off track. He wants us focused on everything else that happens in this world. And he pulls us from our commission of making disciples and of trusting this good shepherd on the other side of the table. Like his great desire is to maybe build it up so that you don't see him, but you only see the other person who's trying to pull up a seat at the table. And so, I don't know if you do this, but like I get this, there's like this self-talk that goes on sometimes for me. And I don't, it's not even conscious. I don't even realize I'm doing it, but it just starts this like, oh, this thing's due. You're never going to get that done. That's going to be a disaster. Oh, I think this person hates you. Is that church growing? Are we going to be able to do this? What about that? We bought that land and we said we're going to put a building on it and it's not going the way we want it to. What do we do? Like, we're not going to be able to do this. And it becomes, and it wakes me up at night. I don't know if that happens to you guys, where this stuff just fills your head and like worries and anxieties just kind of overtake you sometimes. Friends, that's the enemy trying to get a seat at the table. That's the enemy trying to say, hey, Jason, let me just cozy up here. I'll sit real close. Give you a grape. These are like the biggest grapes I've ever seen. I hope they're washed. I'm sure they are, right, Amy? I'm not going to look at you because you're probably going to shake your head no. But they're delicious. Probably have salmonella or whatever you get from unwashed grapes. I don't even know. Why do we wash them? It's a good grape, though. Giants. I'm still chewing it. I don't want it in my teeth for the video for later. That'd be gross. But the enemy, he pulls up a chair and he just wants to cozy up to you. Here's a powdered donut, Jay. You're not going to make it. You know, just eat some more. Take some more food in. Like, maybe your enemy, I don't know, maybe your enemy isn't like, maybe your enemy is the table, right? Maybe your enemy is the food that's on the table. Like, this thing is just like, oh, I want all this food, but I can't have this food because it's not a good thing for me. The enemy just, he wants to steal your joy. He wants to kill your confidence. He wants to destroy your hope. But there's been something really powerful for me. Something that's been really big for me that we kind of, I don't know if we uncovered it or just were reminded of it. And it goes in lots of different, I say it lots of different ways. But the thing is that I get to decide who sits at this table. Besides the Lord and me, I get to decide who else gets a chair here. I get to decide if it's going to be a friend who's going to encourage deeply in the Lord. I get to decide if it's going to be someone who's going to say, yes, listen to them. Keep looking down at the end of the table, Jason, because it's not you. It's him down there. Or if it's going to be the enemy or someone who maybe speaks on behalf of the enemy, whispering in my ear that just like he did to Eve in the garden. Did God really say that? Does God really want the best for you? And we start to believe this terrible lie. The shepherd who prepared a table before me, who comforts me, who protects me, who provides for me, that this shepherd down here, we begin to believe this terrible lie that he's not good because we've allowed this person here. You decide who sits here. You decide the voices that are in your world. You have the power to do that. And as this one starts to whisper, you can remind him, no, you're a lion. And when you start having this conversation with the lion, You're having a conversation with a killer. He has no affection for you. His only desire is to destroy you, to maybe dent the heart of God. His only desire is to hurt you. And so you decide who sits at this table with you. That's a very powerful thing to understand. And as you get it, you begin to realize why maybe this playlist of victory is important. Why this Psalm 23, to tune out everything else and to hear the good news of who Jesus is and what He's done. The good news of He is the shepherd and I am a sheep. He's going to make me lie down in green pastures. He's going to lead me beside still waters. He's going to restore my soul. When I get that focused, then I don't want this guy sitting at the table with me. We say it other ways too. We say it like this, like you need to preach the gospel to yourself. Where instead of this person preaching an anti-gospel to you, this enemy fighting against you, you remind yourself of the goodness of the Lord. You remind yourself of His grace towards you, who was a sinner trapped in darkness, who shone light in your heart and gave you hope. That took someone who is dead in trespasses and sin and made you alive in Jesus. Like that this one who does this is good. And you have to preach yourself the gospel. You've got to remember that this thing doesn't deserve a place at your table. Got to remember that this table is for the sheep and for the shepherd. It's not for the enemy. But I can't do that for you. I can't I can't take the chair and throw it away. If you're a sheep and he's the shepherd, you decide if he's going to be at this table or not. You decide it based on who are you having conversation with? You make that determination. And so when you're about to hop on the porn site, go a step further, cheat on your spouse, have that inappropriate relationship, lose your integrity in business, you decide who you're listening to. And this table, He prepares this table for you in the presence of enemies. Why can't He just do it in a locked, closed vault like Scrooge McDuck's vault, right? I love DuckTales. It was on, went to Starbucks this morning and they had a different playlist on. I love it when the baristas put on their own playlist and they had the DuckTales theme on. So it's been running through my head kind of quietly all day. It's been fantastic. I'm going to add that to my playlist when I'm running. DuckTales. Woo. Why can't He put this table locked away in a vault where no one can get to there, where it's just me and Him? Why? That would make me feel a lot safer as a sheep, right? If this table's in a vault and it's locked away and no one can get there, okay, that feels great, Lord. Good idea. No. He prepares a table before you in the presence of enemies. Why? I get, Lord, thank you. Donuts look great. Cantaloupe's delicious. Peppers, phenomenal. Watermelon, juicy and red. If I eat this, my mouth is I won't be able to talk anymore. But thank you, Lord. But why are the enemies there? He wants to make really clear. He wants to make really clear to you and to the enemies that his power is bigger. That his power is better. That while all the enemies are surrounding, as long as the sheep stayed on the shepherd, it doesn't matter what else you're going to try. It doesn't matter what enemies come against you, because the sheep is focused on the shepherd. And the shepherd protects you. And the shepherd fights for you. His rod and his staff, they comfort you. When the sheep is focused on the shepherd, then you're not worried about the enemies. He does it to make sure that, number one, you know that he's capable. And number two, he's taunting. He's taunting the enemy. You are not more powerful than me. You are not stronger. I'm preparing this table for my sheep in the presence of you, so that you remember and realize that you can't harm them as long as they're focused on me. I don't know what kind of self-doubt or what kind of difficulty you are having or the pain you're dealing with or whatever it is. But understand, underneath it all isn't a person or a thing. Underneath it all is an enemy who wants to destroy you. Underneath it all, it isn't a doctor or a lawyer who's against you. That's not it. It's an enemy who's prowling around trying to devour you. And the Lord in his graciousness has put a table out front and saying, sit at this table, focus on me. Sit at this table, focus on me. And the enemy who thinks he is all-powerful will be shown what real power is. We don't wrestle against flesh and blood. We fight a roaring lion. But we don't really fight the roaring lion, because sheep have no talons, no claws, no teeth. But the sheep have a shepherd who fights on their behalf. So don't trust in yourself. Don't trust in your abilities. Don't trust in your knowledge. Don't trust in your boldness, courage, bravery. Don't trust in those things. Trust in the shepherd. Who says, enemies, it doesn't matter what you're going to try to do. This table's for my sheep. He will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Sit down and trust the shepherd. Father, thank you. Thank you for your grace to us. Thank you for your kindness to us. That we are sheep of a special herd. A sheep that's invited to sit at a table with a king, a sovereign king, control of all things. And that sheep that sits at that table with that king is protected. Lord, I pray for believers in this room who hear the whisper, maybe even the shout. That they aren't good enough, or they can't, or they won't, or he won't take care of you, or he's not good, or God's not good, or he's leaving you alone in this. That they would be reminded of this playlist of victory in Psalm 23. That this thing isn't for funerals and people going through hard times, but for people who are walking in victory. People who are living in victory. Because there's a shepherd at the other end of the table. That shepherd is strong. So God, I pray and I beg today that the people in this room and people who hear this via video or whatever else would sit down and look at the shepherd. Lord, thank you for the hope we have in your Son. Thank you for your grace towards us. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.